Now that I've had a chance to really get to know my Mazda CX-5, I wanted to follow up my first impressions video with a full review of the CX-5, why I chose this car, what I love about it, some quirks about it, and a full performance assessment along with a 0 to 60 test, so stay tuned for that. The first thing most people notice about the CX-5 is the beautiful standout styling. It's really a standout because of how simple it is. You won't see a lot of chrome pieces and extraneous kinks and curves. It's just a slick, simple design that's going to really stand the test of time here. Look at these details. Look at these beautiful headlights. This car was designed from the ground up to have only LED headlights, so you have that shape kind of baked in. Around back you get these dramatic LED taillights that look so menacing. I just love it, and the twin exhaust pipes, just a beautiful package. The design and materials choices in the CX-5 interior makes it a very nice place to spend time. It really feels a cut above everything else in the segment. Take a look at the stitching on the dash and the door panels. And best of all, the back seat gets the same high quality door materials as the front seat. That's pretty unusual. Some people don't like the look of the protruding infotainment screen, but frankly, it's right in my line of sight. It's easier to look over to see it than down. And speaking of line of sight, if you get the premium package on the Grand Touring model, you get this very nice full color HUD display. It's projected on the windshield instead of a flip-up panel. It really is a high-end feature. It's great to have for navigation, for speed limits, for alerts and warnings. It's just always right there. I appreciate the clean, traditional, and driver-focused gauge layout on the CX-5. You get a manual tachometer, a manual speedometer, and a configurable multi-information display on the right that changes when you press the info button on the steering wheel. Now, what's great about the whole cockpit driving experience of the CX-5 is it keeps your eyes up, keeps your eyes on the road, and it makes you focus on the joy of driving.
Prepare to bear right after half a mile.
In typical Mazda fashion, there's plenty of feedback from this car, and that includes the exhaust note. They want you to know how hard the engine is working. They want you to know what rev you're at without having to look down. So the character of this engine is very different than a modern turbocharged engine that tends to muffle the exhaust sound. And after I do the 0 to 60 test coming up, I'm going to show you an acceleration run of my mom's old Forester XT, which has a 2-liter turbo kicking out 250 horsepower. But you'll see how much quieter the turbo is and how it just kind of whisks you along. But the Mazda is all about visceral feedback. I mean, it's fun. It's a slower car than the Forester, but it's so much more fun to drive just because of the steering feel and the responsiveness of the chassis. It feels so tight, yet it doesn't beat you up over bumps. So let's do that 0 to 60 test right now. In terms of driving fun, acceleration is only part of the puzzle. Where the CX-5 really excels is the handling. It's pretty much impossible to quantify steering feel in a video review, but my impressions are this CX-5 drives really much more like a Mazda 3 hatchback than a crossover. I really enjoy it every time I get behind the wheel. Every single CX-5 is navigation ready, meaning if your CX-5 does not have nav from the factory, you can install it by just sticking an SD card with the proper software, which you can buy on eBay, into the SD card in the center console. The The front side windows are made of double pane glass, just like the Mercedes-Benz S600. It's just one of the ways Mazda transformed the CX-5 from one of the loudest crossovers in the segment to the quietest. Another feature shared with Mercedes is the auto hold feature. This actually will hold the brake for you at a stoplight, and as soon as you hit the gas, you start moving again. In about 1,300 miles of ownership, I haven't had anything that would qualify as a defect. I have, however, noticed a few quirks. The automatic windshield wipers, for example, require a completely clear, defrosted windshield to work. I had them swiping like crazy one day, couldn't figure out why until I saw that the HVAC was completely off. I put it on auto, it defrosted, and right away it took care of the issue. Another thing is the automatic high beam assist on the CX-5 that essentially activates the high beams when the car detects there's nobody in front of you or coming up towards you. But it's so hyperactive that it will just right away kick on those high beams. A car will come up over the hill, they're off, they're on, they're off, they're on. I wish you could set some kind of delay so it wasn't quite as responsive, because I'm finding myself flashing people, blinking at people that I have no intention of doing so. So I've kind of just turned that feature off. I've been averaging about 27 miles per gallon, which isn't bad at all for a 3,600 pound all-wheel drive crossover. I've seen this number steadily increase since I got the car as it's been broken in, and on the highway I've seen as good as 31 or 32, so pretty impressive numbers, not class leading but not far off. In conclusion, I have no regrets whatsoever buying the CX-5. I love it. I love what Mazda's been doing lately with their design and their engineering, and the attention to detail. It kind of reminds me of the old Hondas and Toyota products of the early 90s, where they just had a really clean, cohesive lineup, great interiors. It's kind of the same thing we're seeing now with Mazda. They're not super powerful vehicles, but they're so well thought out, so just traditional Japanese. I love it, and I think we're going to see some really cool stuff from them coming up, like the new Skyactiv X high compression gas engine, some really cool technology. So I hope this video was interesting for you because, you know, I'm not somebody who just churns out car reviews all the time. This is my car. I put down $32,000 cash of my own money on this car. So I hope this is more real for you because, you know, I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I bought this car. This is why I bought it, and I love it. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe for more, and this has been DDW Reviews. Thank you very much.
Set up.
I know we might be running their time lapse. Dude, those pictures I took of you are A+.
Really? I thought you were going to video. I took a video of you.